You see, it's not that we stick to principle. Not really. We stick to something of a foundation of love, and we modify these rules, these principles, these values accordingly. So I might gauge that it's right to break a principle, because it would be extremely unkind and unfaithful to keep principle in a certain situation. As where, for instance, such would cause the loss of life that could be avoided by breaking the rule, the principle. But you can only do this in a situation where you are trusting God that all is well, in fact, because He rules. That it's not a catastrophe to break this principle, and that acting in love will result in a good outcome, and that in general keeping a principle would result in a good outcome. So you simply discern which you think is the case. And either way, you know in your heart that it's God that rules even your decision, leave alone the outcome of such. Because He's all-powerful and loves all life. You see, you look to principles and values and so on in as far as you actually don't have the love of God in you. Don't recognize God as your heavenly Dad. Don't love all life round you. It's that which forces you back to simplistic principles of don't lie. Does that mean I have to tell the truth? Well, you mustn't lie. You know, whereas, of course, in a situation of love, you tell truths that are beneficial. And, well, perhaps even, I'm not sure now, I'm suddenly in the vague and fuzzy area. What about true? Telling things that are not true that would be a blessing. I can imagine where circumstances where that's best to do, because you have the true welfare of this person at heart. If you don't have, well, there's no point in you trying to reason it out. You'd better stick to the rule. And the rule will be inappropriate at times, but better than your judgment without God. So society presses you to tell the truth on a form, say, in this case, application for daughter going to a school. Is it a white lie to simply claim something to be true that's not and sign it on the form? No, it is not a white lie. Society needs truth to function efficiently. And am I really dependent on telling a lie to get my daughter into a good future in a school? I don't think so. I think God will love and care for my daughter, come what may, whatever I do. It's just that I have the privilege of being part of His love and care, and do what I think is probably best. Now, I don't think it's best to lie in this case, and as it happens, I happen to think that the school she's at is better than the one she's applying to, and that it's much a consequence of her mother's influence. One who is not loving God at present, as far as I can see. And my daughter's not loving God at present either. She's loving Mum. Well, that's understandable, and quite right too. I'm not cutting across that. It's a great blessing to love someone who you're convinced loves you. And even if they don't, it's probably still the best course of action. So we say, children, it's best if you love your parents if you possibly can. And my reply to a religious education teacher at school was, I don't love my dad, I hate him. He doesn't treat my mum properly. And this older lady who was teaching was concerned, of course. Oh dear, he's got a problem home. How does this child cope? And she was careful with me, trying to be understanding, but knowing that the only thing that really works is to trust, even if your parents... Oh, this is murky ground now. We're getting to fuzzy areas, aren't we? Even if your parent doesn't love you and does things that are not loving. And she knew that full well too. What happens if he's got for instance, a violent dad? My dad was not violent in any physical way, really. Very secular, but, and could get angry. My goodness, was he an angry person? But then so was Mum. Didn't stop Mum being loving. And as I say, I now feel my relationship with Dad is much healed. I see him as someone who was in love with Mum, and it turned to custard, didn't it, in the end? A very long, drawn-out end, poor chap. And poor all concerned. Yep. But we trust that it's to good. And what's happened with this life I've experienced, difficult though it might have been at times, I now love God. Wow. How amazing. Thank you, Heavenly Dad.